Ayo, what's up, party people? It's your boy, back at it with another little documentary. My last video I did about the Fun Time Kids Care actually did quite well, so here I am back with another video about another weird thing. Twist is, though, I'm in Seattle. See, look, there's the space needle right there. It's orange now. That's pretty cool, huh? But this video is not actually about the city of Seattle. It's about a neighborhood in Seattle called Fremont. Now, Fremont is home to a lot of cool little shops and restaurants. They have a flea market on Sundays that's fairly popular. They got the Fremont Troll, of course, that sits underneath the freeway. They also got the subject of today's video, the 16-foot tall bronze statue of Vladimir Lenin. That's right, located on the intersection of Fremont Place North and North 36th Street is the towering replica of the former leader of Russia and world-renowned communist dictator. All right, let's take a brief history lesson, shall we? So, Vladimir Lenin, born in 1870. See, here he is as a little baby. Still got the facial hair here. Big on communism. October of 1917, we have Lenin overthrowing the government of Russia and declaring himself ruler. Basically just stormed into the capital with his Bolshevik allies and took control. The Tampov Rebellion, which is basically when a bunch of farmers in Russia were pissed that their food was being used for the greater good of communism. They weren't being fed. They thought it was unfair. It is real hot in this closet right now. Thankfully, I got my Crystal Light. Very cold. Not a sponsor, by the way. But it could be. So Lenin's response here was basically just to kill them all. He gassed them all. Like 50,000 people died. And he would do this regularly to anyone that opposed. He is responsible for a lot of deaths. 10,000 is the low number just for political executions, but the number is really more like 10 million for the famine. His rule led to other communist dictators like Stalin and whatnot, but just overall, not the greatest of guys, I gotta say. So why is there a statue of this ruthless tyrant in Fremont, Seattle of all places? Well, luckily there's a nice placard here explaining the history of the statue and how it ended up. Oh, wait, no, never mind. This sign has been graffiti, is now completely illegible. Doing a little research online, you'll find an article from Curb Seattle, written by Haley Golden, that lays out the complete history of the statue. It was originally constructed in 1988 by sculptor Emil Venkov for the purpose of an arts competition. The statue was quickly taken down a year later during the collapse of communism in Eastern Europe. It was later discovered by Seattleite Lou Carpenter, who was so fascinated by this piece of art that he spent an estimated $40,000 to buy the statue from the city of Poprad, Slovakia, and ship it back to Issaquah, Seattle. Carpenter reportedly had plans to open a restaurant and mount the Lenin statue out front, but was unfortunately killed in a car accident just a year after transporting the statue to Seattle. The then founder of the Fremont Fine Arts Foundry, Peter Beves, took control of the statue and moved it to Fremont, where it stands to this day. Now, the statue has been subject to quite a bit of controversy. It has been vandalized countless times by protesters. It is not uncommon to see the hands of Lenin covered in red paint, signifying, you guessed it, the blood on his hands from the 10 million or so people he's killed. There also seems to be a recent use of blue and yellow paint, most likely in support of Ukraine's struggle against Russia, which kind of makes it look like a weird collage of primary colors, but, go off, I guess. Now, something interesting happened when I visited the statue a week later. Seemed to be covered head to toe in these anti-vax posters, which, was a bit frustrating because I was just trying to get more B-roll footage. It doesn't even make sense. What does Lenin have to do with vaccines? But anyways, so I was sitting there eating my chicken pesto sandwich. It got me thinking. A lot of Seattleites want this statue removed from the area, but this intersection would certainly be a lot more boring without the statue. Fremont is full of a lot of weird sculptures and art pieces. It's what makes it unique. Besides, I don't think the statue of Lenin was built to idolize him, quite the opposite. The artist's original intention seems to have been lost over the years. It's important to keep the conversation open and acknowledge the atrocities committed by this man, but that doesn't necessarily mean we have to tear down the statue. But what do you think? Should the statue be taken down, placed by something else, or just left alone? Also, if you have any suggestions for future videos, please feel free to leave them down below. Alright, I think that's everything. Peace.